Hello and welcome back to this live Saturday night on Saturday, March 16th. It is 9 p.m. here in Dublin, Ireland, and it's St. Patrick's weekend, so Paddy's Day tomorrow. Long weekend, as it's on a Sunday. Everybody gets a day off on Monday, so nice to have a long weekend. So welcome back, everyone. Tonight, just as I mentioned on the stream, I'm not streaming to TikTok, so it's just going to be... Well, let me just pull up the channels that it's going to be. It will be obviously here on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and X, formerly known as Twitter. And the reason for that is because I use a thing called Restream, and that is a multi-broadcast streaming tool. And it doesn't work natively or as cleanly with the tool that I use for TikTok or Instagram. So until it does, I'm not going to use them because it just adds another layer of complexity for each, and it doesn't save the streams either. So I will continue to post the clips to those, so the little snippets from the lives that happen through it will be posted throughout the week, and you'll see those going up there, so that's fine. And let me just have a quick scan into my channel to make sure that everything is showing up as it should. Okay. I know I have a delay on my stream, but I'm not trying to focus on this too much because I tend to do it all the time, and I jump in and I'm staring to see whether the stream is active. Seems to be, so I'm going to move ahead. I can see chat coming in. Looks like it's connected to the right stream, and I'm just going to refresh it once and make sure, because I don't want to be talking to myself like I normally do. Okay, so it shows a live 7-minute stream, and there I can see myself. We're good to go. Okay, 2 minutes, not too much time wasted talking about stream connections like I have been in the past. So the topic this week was something I wanted to bring up a while back, and it's on a list. So if I pull up the list of things I had before, I had quite a few topics, but one of them obviously was money and why it's important. And I did mention this when I went through the list of topics for 2024. And I suppose, yeah, this is a bit of a tricky one. And I wanted to talk about this, and I'm probably going to just show a video in a while on a guy that I've listened to about this topic and personal development and growth and stuff like that, self-help, but personal development, Jim Rohn. I will touch on that. It's a long video, so I'm only going to just show it to you. I'll put the link in the video description on YouTube afterwards, so you can find it. But I suppose what I learned from him and a few others over the years about money is that it's not really money that we should focus on, right? So I always had this thing, you know, we need to pay bills, we have financial requirements and bills of many kinds, and money is how we pay for those, and those products and services, and we pay our bills, and that's how we get paid through our job. And the focus, you know, was always on money. For me, it was always on money. How do I, you know, get more money? How do I get paid more? And I was really just focused on the money side of things. And the small shift in mindset for me was to not focus on money. And there's an analogy that I heard, I think it may have been Jim Rohn that mentioned it, but it was something like this, is that money is almost like a cat. If you try to chase the cat and grab the cat, in a lot of cases the cat runs away and you can't catch the cat. But if you provide the cat what it wants, which is food, and you put the food out for the cat comes to you. And so the food is, in this analogy, represents value to the marketplace, or value you provide. Now, to make a distinction here, we can all provide value in lots of different ways. You know, value in relationships, value to our family, value to the community, but value to the marketplace, which is then reflected in monetary terms in your remuneration and how you're rewarded financially. This is the type of value we're talking about here. And so as it relates to money, of course. So as the topic is money, and it's financially focused here. So really, while I was always focused on how do I generate more money, how do I earn more money, how do I, we've all had struggles in our lives where we've had challenges with bills and finance and buying houses and cars, whatever the case may be, paying the cost of having a family, everything else. And I focused on money probably too much. And when I flipped my thought process around as in how do you provide more value? How do I, as a person, provide more value to the marketplace? And then more money is a function of providing more value. It's a consequence of you providing more value to the marketplace or to your employer or to your customers or your business. And providing more value to more people results in more reward monetarily, with financially more money. So it's a consequence of you providing more value. And so with that small shift in thinking about it, you look at the problem differently, and you decide you have to then decide, how can I provide more value? So if that, for example, I work for a software company, I'm employed by them, and for me then I have the same amount of hours in a day as everyone else. So my consideration is then, how can I be more valuable to the company? How can I be more valuable to my team, more valuable to the people that I work with? How can I help deliver on the goals that we've set out as a business? And so that my time, because I can't work more hours, but I can get more done, as in the value of what I'm providing. So I can leverage value, because I can't work more hours in the same day as everyone else. I have the same number of hours, but what I do at that time can be improved, and I can provide more value. And then if you have leverage against using the global market, such as the internet, which a software company does, you've got access to provide value to a much higher number of people, and that is usually the best way. The bigger the market, the more people you can provide the value to, and the higher the financial reward in that case. And for business owners or entrepreneurs, again, that comes back to them. And there's a thing then about, typically a lot of people, all of us are really consumers. So we're all consumers of products and services, and that consumer heavy focus mentality generally means you'll get paid whatever your normal salary is paid, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, whatever, and then you're just focused on paying your bills, buying the product and services that you need, the groceries, shopping, and providing for your family. Rarely are we focused then on the other side of things, how to grow money, like investing, production, like producing goods and services. So we're focused on consuming goods and services, but in order to create, if you're an entrepreneur, to create more value, you need to focus on producing more goods and services. And producing more goods and services and making them available to a bigger market and bigger number of people is then how you can increase the amount of money that comes back to you in that business. So it's learning to focus on creating things, on being a producer more than you're a consumer, or even on an equal footing of the amount that you consume. But changing your mindset and shifting your mindset to produce and create more things, products, services, and value, to bring more value to more people, usually results in the side effect or consequence or function of more money comes your way. But I suppose, why do we want to do this? Why would we even want to take that approach? Why not just sit and work with what we have? Okay, we're happy, we can pay the bills, we can meet the basics. Why do any more? Why try to stretch beyond that? Personally, I've achieved a reasonable level of success in my career. I'm doing okay by most standards and measurements, but I'm not content enough to say that that's it for me. As a matter of fact, I think I'm only getting started. There's a lot more that I can and should do, in my opinion. And why do I feel that way? Well, if you have any kind of interest in helping more people or giving back, there's a topic that I talked about, which is fulfillment, and that kind of it doesn't come later. Giving back and fulfillment. So initially, human survival, we're looking to survive, get food, sustenance, shelter, all the basic elements of survival, and then our brains really just want us to focus on that and do that. But for things like fulfillment and living a life with more to it, giving back to other people, having a bigger, wider picture, and being able to help others beyond yourself, I think that is the bigger picture, and that's where the real joy from life can come in. And it can take a long time to get there, to even start to think that way. And not everybody has to think that way, but it's something that's in my mind. And so I feel that where I'm at now just is I started this YouTube channel so I could kind of help get my own thoughts out there. I can look back on these videos and see where my head was at with these thoughts, ideas, and concepts, and see how it changes and how I grow as the years progress. But where I am now, I think it's just a good starting point. There's a lot more that I want to do, and again, it's not about money. And money, to some degree, can be, a lot of people can vilify money and say money is the root of all evil, but I don't believe that at all. I think it's just it's not a good nor bad. It's people will decide if something they do with money will be good or bad. But I don't think money in itself is inherently good or bad. It can cause people to act in a certain way, but really it's just a function of the value you provide to the marketplace. And that's only one kind of value, like I said. But if you do provide enough value to enough people, that's a function of providing that value. And so if your goal in your design in life is to help a lot of people, or even just to help your own family and friends and people in your community, it's very, very difficult to help them beyond just giving your time to them, which again, volunteering and doing that is a great value and service to the community and to people in need like that. But you can only give so much of your time. You're only one person. You can't 1000x or 10,000x yourself. You can only hope that more people might join and volunteer, and that is the case in a lot of places. But if you have access to more funds, or you're able to generate more funds, or you have it, you can help a lot more people, and you can contribute and give back. You can help charities, you can help just a lot of people with that. So one of the main reasons for me then to try and achieve more and do more and provide more value as much as possible, so that the function of then allows me to have access to more funds, is so that I can do these things in the future and try to realize that side of myself where I'm giving beyond myself, trying to be more, to show more empathy to the community, to people that need it, and give back where possible. So money, again, can have a huge beneficial effect. Like, again, schools, hospitals, and all these things, they require a lot of money. Any improvements to infrastructure or countries, or even just sometimes, you see something in somebody, they want to start a business or they want to do something, and you're able to provide help or get involved or do something that can allow them to make a start. You're able to provide a chance where you may have been provided a chance in a similar way, and you want to pay it forward. Well, you can't do that if you don't have any kind of monetary ability to do so. So being able to help in that way is very, very fulfilling, very rewarding, but it requires you to be a certain type of person to be able to get there in the first place. And I think naturally, even me personally, just using myself as an example, I would say when I was younger, I wanted to kind of rest on my laurels and enjoy the good life, throw my feet up, go on holidays, you know, enjoy nice wine and food and all that stuff. And that was all I really thought I wanted, you know, and obviously then raise a family and kick back and enjoy it all. And really, as I get older, family is number one. And I find then that when you have all these things in place, and that side of things is you know, doing well, you can think more about how to give back and how to contribute. So there was a video that I mentioned earlier on, and the person Jim Rohn, who I've spoken about before, and I've watched a lot of his stuff over the years. And this one is a long video, so I'm only going to touch on the start of it just to introduce it, and I'll put a link in. But just to let you hear a little snippet of the start, and because I remember I couldn't play this a few weeks ago, it wasn't working. So I want to introduce you to Jim Rohn, and maybe you can check out this video. I listened to it in the car quite a number of times, and I thought he was very good. You know, there's some snippets and nuggets in here that you can really take from this guy. The music at the start of the video is kind of funny, you know, it's like that. I think it may have been late 80s, early 90s when this was recorded. But I definitely took a lot of good things from the 4 hours worth. So I'm only going to just touch on, or play into a couple of minutes, and I might skip to one or two things, see if we can hit on some of the really interesting parts that I picked up before. But further than that, you know, you click the link, I'll add it to the stream. I'll add it to the description of the videos afterwards, today or tomorrow, and check it out. And let me know, you know, if you find anything beneficial from it. But really good guy. So this is Jim Rohn, and the video itself is called "How to Have the Best Year Ever." It's a seminar that he held. Like, again, it's about 30 years ago at this stage. So here it is. Check it out. This is the start, and listen to the music. he has a kind of a funny but dad joke, I would call it, just after it begins. But yeah, good guy. Take a listen.
Thank you very much. Did you hear what the cow said to the farmer on a cold winter morning? Thanks for the warm hand. Anyway, it's going to get better, so don't panic on me. I start small. Nice to see all of you. How many of you have never seen me before? This is your first time? Oh, wow, most of you, okay. I keep thinking for sure I'm more famous than that, but you know, that is the truth. I'm delighted to be here. Been looking forward to it for a long time. And it's nice to be back. You know, I was here not too long ago. It's nice to be invited back. It says something when you're invited back. It doesn't say everything, but it says something. Maybe it says, let's give him one more chance, right? See if he can get it right this time. But I'm delighted to have all of you here. We're going to spend the day together. I feel two major responsibilities, and I'm sure you can guess what those are. Number one is to make sure you get your money's worth. Right? When you shell out your cash, especially these days, you want to make sure you get full value for the money you spent. And I know the tab for the seminar was not that much.
I'm not sure why my
pretty modest
thing keeps bouncing back and forward here. I'm getting some weird video
for the week, right?
bounce happening.
I want you to be able to say when you walk out of here today, it was worth my money. But my biggest responsibility is to make sure you get your time's worth. And the reason I say that is because time is more valuable than money. In fact, you might start your notes with that. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but unfortunately you can't get more time. If somebody asks you to spend your money, that's pretty easy, right? We live in America. We're wealthy. So the money's not the problem. But what if somebody asks you to spend a day? Right? You got to think that over carefully. And I know you did. I wouldn't waste one of my days, not for anybody, not for anything. Once I understood how valuable they were, I don't waste any. But to make an investment like today of your money and your time, I appreciate that. Today's going to be costly for me. It's going to cost me one of my days to be here, right? And some money, of course. But, you know, I don't need the money. I take the money, but I don't need the money. But guess what I do need? The time. So I'm here not to just joke with you. I'm here not to just tell some funny stories and give a performance and walk away. I'm here to give you some value, and I want to make it worth your time. I'm going to invest a day. You're going to invest a day. Let's get the most out of it and see what we can walk away with today. Anyway, for you that have not seen me before, just very briefly, let me just tell you my story. I grew up in Idaho, farm country, southwest corner of Idaho. In fact, my father still lives on the old homestead where I grew up. He'll be 89 his next birthday, still hasn't retired. I'm proud of my dad. He's never been ill. He's really something. I'm trying to get him to retire this year, 88. I'm telling my father, what a good year to retire when you're 88. And he says, hey, talk to me in 10 years, right? I might be ready. But anyway, I went to high school. I graduated. I went to college 1 year. Halfway through my second year of college, I decided I was smart enough, so I quit. One of my major mistakes. I should have stayed in school. But I thought, heck, you know, I'm smart enough to get a job. That's what life's all about, right? Get a job, pay your bills, work hard, stay out of trouble, keep your fingers crossed, hope for the best. And I figured I was at least prepared to do that. So I quit college and went to work. A little while later, got married, got my little family going, and I'm out there doing what I thought was the best I could. But about age 25, I'm starting to struggle. I've purchased a little more than I can conveniently pay for on time. And the creditors are starting to call saying, hey, you told us the check was in the mail. What's the deal? And I'm getting embarrassed by that. I'm also embarrassed, big mouth me, with all the fancy promises I made to get married. I'm way behind on those promises. And I'm getting discouraged, wondering what to do. And I thought, well, maybe I should go back to school. Right? 1 year of college, pretty short on an application. But, you know, tough to go back to school, right? Especially when you got your family going. Time to stay is when you're there. So I discounted that. I thought, well, if I, you know, had my own business, that would be the way to go. But, you know, I'm short on money. Too much month at the end of the money. If you've ever been there, that's where I was, age 25. So I had to discount that, and I'm discouraged, wondering, where do I go from here? And then the miracle happened for me. Good fortune came my way. And who can explain good fortune? I don't know. Remarkable things that happen to you at a particular time. Sometimes it's just unexplainable how those things happen. One of my friends says, well, hey, things don't just happen. Things happen just. Another good note for your notes. Things don't just happen. Things happen just. And maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm an amateur on life, I guess, like most of us are, trying to figure it out, how to make it valuable. But I was ready. And my good fortune was, at age 25, I met a very wealthy man. His name was Mr. Schoaf, Mr. Earl Schoaf. A friend of mine had gone to work for him, and he started telling me about this man. He said, you got to meet this man I've gone to work for. He's wealthy, but he's easy to talk to. And he's got a unique philosophy of life. And the more he kept talking about this man, I thought, well, I've got to meet this man. So sure enough, shortly after that, I had a chance to meet this remarkable wealthy man, and I was impressed. He was wealthy. Sure enough, he was easy to talk to. I was so intrigued, within a few minutes, I said to myself, if I could be like him, farm boy from Idaho, if I could be like him, I'd give anything. And then I thought, if I could just get around somebody like him, and if he would teach me what to do, I would be willing to learn. I'm coachable. And that was my good fortune. A few months later, this wealthy man that I met, Mr. Schoaf, took a liking to me, hired me, gave me a job. I went to work for him. And I spent the next 5 years in his employ. And then, unfortunately, he died at the end of that period, at age 49. His last 5 years, but the first 5 years of my new life, I got to spend with this remarkable man, and my dream came true. He coached me, he taught me. He taught me the books to read. He taught me the disciplines. He taught me the changes to make in my language and personality. And the things he shared with me during that 5 years literally changed my life, turned my life around, changed my income, changed my bank account, changed my future, changed everything. I've never been the same since that unique experience. And I wish he was still alive today, Mr. Schoaf. I'm sure if he was alive today, especially after this seminar, Idaho Farm Boy makes it to Dallas, Fort Worth.
The video flicking back and forth, by the way, is fixed, so sorry about that.
Full house, standing room only. Pretty awesome. I'm sure if he was alive, I'd be calling him today saying, "You won't believe what's happening to me. I've had a chance now to share with other people what you shared with me." But anyway, how I got here. 30 plus years ago, I was living in Beverly Hills, California. And one day a friend of mine, businessman friend, said, "Jim, I'd like to have you come and share your story with my service club that I belong to, the Rotary Club." He said, "I know your story, Idaho Farm Boy makes it to Beverly Hills." But he said, "I think my club members would love to hear your story." He said, "If I arranged one of our breakfast meetings, would you come tell your story? Just share a few thoughts." I said, "Okay." So I agreed to go give this breakfast talk. And guess what? They liked it. And my telephone rang. I got another call saying, "We heard you've given your story and shared some ideas. Would you come talk to our club? First thing I know, I'm starting to devote a piece of my business time to giving these talks. And then one day, a businessman who'd heard my talk, I think 2 or 3 times, approached me and said, "Would you come and share that story and some thoughts with my management and salespeople?" I said, "I got this little company going." And he said, "If you'd come tell your story to my organization," he said, "I'd be happy to pay you." And I thought, wow, wouldn't that be something? So I agreed to go do it, and I got paid. Little did I know, another fortune was waiting for me to translate my ideas into talks and speeches and seminars. Now I've written some books. It's on cassette tape. Now I get to travel around the world. Last year I was in Japan and Israel, Spain, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand.
I think Jim Rohn here, I know that Tony Robbins, who I've talked about before and who I met and went to one of his seminars in Dublin at the Pendulum Summit, or he was one of the speakers there. He was mentored by this guy, Jim Rohn, and there's another guy that was out probably around the same time as Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar. Maybe he was before, I'm not sure. But this guy, Jim Rohn, to me is kind of one of the first personal development public speakers. And so many followed afterwards, Tony Robbins being one of the most notable. Not everybody knows him, of course, but if you're into that side of things, you'll be aware of it. But Jim Rohn is where a lot of it came from. So now a lot of them are very show business focused in a way, very showy, very fantastic in a lot of the claims. But this guy here, he's a businessman first and a speaker second. So to me, it was much more relatable in the way that he speaks and the points that he gets across. He wasn't trying to be like a bloody rock concert or something like that, which some of the others that I've been to and that I watched have been a little bit too rah, jumping up and down, shaking your hands, waving them in the air like you're losing your mind. Where this is just like a business seminar, focus. But there's some really great information in here. That's just the intro. That's how we talk. But I'm going to skip ahead just a couple of things. See, can we touch on something, and then I'm going to get to some of his points. So yeah, let's skip ahead slightly.
France wants to come to America. Why? Everything's available here. All the books you need, all the sermons you need, all the churches you need, all the schools you need, all the instruction you need, all the inspiration you need, all the capital you need, all the markets you need, all the challenge you need, all the information you need, all the seminars you need. Everything's available here. This is America. So number one, let's be thankful for what we already have. Thanksgiving does this. Opens up the doors, opens up the windows, opens up the channels. Thanksgiving for what you already have. I did a seminar one weekend up at the ranch, up at Clear Lake. Got a lodge up there. Nice setting, high valley, high serenity ranch. for the weekend, Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday. People drove in from around California. I got there late Friday afternoon. Everybody had pretty well already gotten there. I couldn't believe the parking lot. Continentals and Eldorados and Mercedes and Cadillacs, and unbelievable. Ferrari, one Rolls Royce, unbelievable. I walked in, good-looking crowd about like this, sitting there ready for the weekend seminar. My opening remarks were, ladies and gentlemen, I think the rest of the world would find it strange that we have all come here this weekend to try to figure out how to do better. Right? I think the rest of the world would say, I don't understand. Guy in his Rolls Royce saying, I got to get to the seminar, find out how to get another one of these Rolls Royces. Unbelievable. Anyway, let's be thankful. Here's what locks up the doors and the channels to receive more: cynicism. That locks you away. That prevents you from learning more, being a cynic about the past and the future, a cynic about the marketplace, cynical about the people, cynical about the institution, cynical about the setup, cynical about yourself, cynical about your chances. See, that locks away all the chance for stuff to flow your way. So, good advice, I think, today. Start off, be thankful. Here's number 2, listen well. That's going to be a challenge today, I understand that. Seems like most of, our life is still going on outside these 4 walls, right? Most of our life.
I could listen to this whole thing, and I probably know most of it by heart at this stage, and I've repeated some of the points. So I'm going to skip ahead again, and we'll do 2 more, and then I'll talk about some of it.
Failure, a few errors in judgment repeated every day for 1 month starts the weakness, starts the disaster process. You can imagine what happens in 6 years. Now here's the formula for success. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. And you've started a whole new process called a whole new life. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. And if you decide today to go for the apple instead of the Hershey bar, I'm telling you, you have begun the process of turning your life around. And if you keep up that process, not only with your health habits, but with your money habits and with your communication habits, with your sales habits and management habits and every other habit that you've got, if you'll start that process, eliminate the errors and replace it with disciplines practiced, I'm telling you, you can start this process of life change immediately.
And what he talks about a lot is just the small things that are easy to do. The good habits that are easy to do in relation to, your work, your finances, your health. It all ties together, but they're easy to do, small things, but they're also easy to ignore and not to do, to leave them out. And that's where it's almost like a golf swing. For anybody that's interested in golf, I don't even play it much anymore, or at all. But a golf swing, like 1 degree to the right or to the left, it changes the entire trajectory of the shot. And it's the same with your life. One small change, you might think it's a very, very tiny change, but it's like if you're in behind the steering wheel of a car, you turn the steering wheel, 2 degrees to the right or left, you can either go into the hedge or you can go straight down the road. So these small changes, like again, the habit stacking I talked about. And you might think, well, why aren't we talking about money here? Money is what I want to learn about in this particular thing. But that's the whole point of this. It's the type of person you have to become in order to create the value that's necessary to, get that, to contribute to the marketplace in a way that brings that money, that reward, that financial remuneration. It's not about focusing on the money. It's about focusing on providing as much value to the marketplace as possible, and that's how it works. And so sitting on your laurels and waiting for stuff to come to you doesn't work. At some points in my younger life, I felt I might have been lazy, or I just wanted to do things my way. But in order to get to the point that I wanted to be at and have the things that I wanted to have, ironically, I had to remove all laziness from my mind and from my mindset and my approach. And it's funny, by the time you do get to the point where you have the capability to get the things you want and do what you want to do and have what you want to have, you've had to change and remove again all that laziness that was in my mind. And then when you achieve those things and reach those goals, you're not like that anymore, and you don't even want that anymore. I don't want to sit on a bloody a beach chair and just like roast in the sun sipping cocktails. I'm not interested in anymore. There's just too much I want to do and create and produce. And so yeah, it's funny how your goals change over time, but maybe that's just growing up and maturity and life and time passing.
Today, you don't ever have to be the same again. Only by choice. You don't have to walk out of here the same as you walked in today. Only by choice. You can start a whole new process. And you say, well, Mr. Rohn, is it that simple? Yes, it's that simple. Where else would you start but with an apple? You don't have to start with something staggering. What if you should be walking around the block for your good health and you don't? What'll that do in 6 years? I'm telling you, the word is disaster. You could and you should and you don't. Here's an even stronger word. You won't. I mean, don't might mean you're careless. Won't probably means you're stubborn. And either one's called disaster. Could, should, don't. I'm telling you, that's why at the end of 6 years, I found myself with pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, creditors calling. Could, should, won't. Could, should, don't is called disaster. Now, how do you change all that? The next 6 years, I got rich. The next 6 years, I became a millionaire. By the time I'm 31, I'm a millionaire. How about that? You say, well, Mr. Rohn, what happened? Well, strangely enough, during that second 6 years of my economic life, the government was about the same. I'm telling you, taxes were about the same. My negative relatives were the same. I'm telling you, the economy was about the same, and prices were about the same, and everything else was about the same. Circumstances were about the same. Then how come I got rich? How come I totally changed my life? I was not the same. Somebody says, well, what did you go to work on to do all that? I started with my philosophy. I started amending my errors by doing some better thinking, changing my mind, coming up with ideas that I didn't have before I met my teacher. And once that whole process started for me, I'm telling you, I changed my whole life. Within a 6-year period, I was never the same. And I've kept up that process all these years. One of the reasons why I'm here is to continue my craft. I don't want the day to come someday somebody says, you should have heard Jim Rohn 10 years ago when he was really terrific. Guess what I want people to say? I heard him 10 years ago, but you should hear him now. I'm telling you, the man works on his craft. I'm telling you, the man's done some extra reading. I'm telling you, the man doesn't miss a trick. I'm telling you, he's worked hard on himself. That's why he's able to deliver like he does. The same thing can happen for you as a teenager. It can happen to you as a mother, as a father, as a business person, as a salesperson, running a business. Doesn't matter. Management, wherever you find yourself. This is the process called personal change. And what I say to start with is, start with your own philosophy. You're not true. Not true. If that was true, you could just stay home, have them send your money. No, it's not true. You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you put in the time. So we don't get paid for time, we get paid for value. Now,
I'm just going to listen to this point here because he's touching on what I said, is that it's the value that you provide that's important. That we all have the same amount of time in the day, but it's the value within that time that you provide that makes the difference, and why some people can be paid the minimum amount per hour, and others can earn millions in the same time. And this is what he's talking about, value.
Since that's true, here's one of the key questions of the afternoon. Is it possible to become twice as valuable and make twice as much money in the same time? Is it possible to become 3 times as valuable as you now are and make 3 times as much money in the same time? Is that possible? Of course. If you want to really emphasize something, that's a good phrase, Stuart. Of course. Of course. Okay. Now, all you have to do to earn more money in the same time is simply become more valuable. America's unique. It's a ladder to climb. Starts down here, what, about $4 an hour? Big argument last year in Congress about the starting place. Should be 5, should be 5, should be 5. Well, no, it doesn't need to be 5. Why not start with 4? It's a ladder. Right? This is not a bed. This is a ladder. This is a ladder to climb. Starts at $4. Now somebody said, well, should be 5, should be 5. Well, maybe. If you're going to stay at the bottom for the rest of your life, it probably should be 5. But that's kind of a pitiful way to live. Start and not grow. Start and not change. Start and not become more valuable. Hey, the whole scenario of life is to start, number 1, and what? Become more valuable, number 2. So America's a ladder to climb. Starts at $4 an hour, and the more valuable you become, you just keep moving up the ladder. Top income last year, what, 52 million? Guy that runs Disney? Would a company pay somebody for 1 year's work $52 million? And the answer is, of course. This is one of those of course places.
This is 30 years ago.
If you help a company make $1 billion, would they pay you $52 million? The answer is, of course. It's chicken feed. I mean, it's not much money. Now, why that much money? Because he has become so valuable. Now, why would we pay somebody only $4 an hour? They're not very valuable to the marketplace. Now, we got to make that distinction, to the marketplace. Might be a valuable brother, a valuable member of the community, a valuable member of the church, valuable member in the sight of God, to the human family, of course, those kind of values. But to the marketplace, which is called what? Reality. Reality is, if you're not very valuable, you don't get much money. Those are called the facts. I mean, that's how that is. Well, then how do you get more money? Simple answer. Somebody says, well, I'll go on strike for more. Well, here's a major problem with that. Here's a major problem with that. You can't get rich by demand. Somebody says, well, I'm waiting for a raise. I'm telling you, it's easier to climb than to wait for a raise. Why not just become more valuable rather than wait? I'm telling you, that's...
So what does he mean by that, become more valuable than, aside from, waiting for a raise? So, again, you can improve your skills, you could learn more, you can upskill and climb, and in that way you're able to achieve more within your role, possibly, or move up to a new role rather than just waiting and staying in the same one. You can definitely upskill. There's so many avenues to go and areas of opportunity there. So become more valuable is to additional training, upskill, do something that not everybody can do, and that usually will mean you are more valuable to the company, the marketplace, or whatever it is, wherever it is you are.
The key to all good things. Becoming more valuable. Why would we pay somebody $400 an hour? They've become more valuable to the marketplace. See how this works? I'm telling you, this stuff is so easy. This is America. This is a ladder. How far is it from 4 to 5? I'm telling you, it's not far. $4 to $5 an hour? If you work for McDonald's, haul out the trash, they'll pay you $5 an hour. If you whistle while you haul out the trash, they'll pay you $5 an hour. I'm telling you. You'll get an extra $1 just for a good attitude. Yay, McDonald's. Wear the hat. It's incredible. $5. And then you just keep becoming more valuable, more valuable, more valuable. I got a telephone call 5 years ago. The company said, we're ready to expand internationally. We need some help. I was sort of semi-retired. Right? Looking for the next exotic beach. They said, no, Mr. Rohn, we got a project for you. Right? We're going to expand internationally. We could use your help. Next little while, we'll add some millions to your fortune, make it worth your while.
I've added the link to this video to the description on the YouTube channel already of this live. So if you refresh, the link will be there for anybody that wants to save it.
Okay. I thought later, isn't that interesting that they called me? My second thought was, of course they'd call me. Who else would they call? I mean, you know, I could get the job done. Now, how come I got a telephone call worth millions? I had become valuable. Now, I'm a farm boy from Idaho. I was raised in obscurity. 1 year of college, and I thought I was thoroughly educated. Made all kinds of mistakes galore. At age 25, the creditors are calling me saying, hey, you told us the check was in the mail. I got pennies in my pocket. I got nothing in the bank. I'm behind on my promises. How come I get a telephone call 5 years ago and it's worth millions? I changed. I turned my life around. Is it possible to become worth millions? Speaking economically, now there's a lot of values to become, but let's just talk economics. Is it possible to become that valuable? And the answer is, of course. Now let me give you the secret. Shoaff said, here's the secret, Mr. Rohn. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Once I got that, it turned my life around. Learn to work
harder on yourself than you do on your job. And I'm going to stop his video there and add the link to the description of this video so you can check it out. But that's a key phrase. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. So it's, again, making sure that you're able, that you have the energy, that you're doing all of the things, your entire routine, your entire approach to life has to be, again, what I said before, focused for initially on your health and well-being, because if you don't have that, you won't have the ability to do any of these things. And when you get that taken care of, then you can focus on the good habits. And then another thing I think from this, he said, don't judge somebody on the size of their TV, judge them on the size of their library. As in, you know, who's impressed by a big TV? That doesn't matter if they have a big giant TV on the wall. I know this is 30 years ago, so maybe that was more impressive back then. Everybody's got a huge TV now. But judge them by the size of their library, and not judging them by, as in, make an assessment as to what kind of person they may be, educated or interested or curious or driven, whatever, by the books in their library, not the TV on their wall. And again, that learning, that lifelong learning, that curiosity is a good indication of a person when you get to see that they will do well, because they're always wanting to learn more, to upskill, to train, to become better, to grow, to expand their knowledge. And a person like that, a curious person that always wants to grow, that wants to continue growing, that never sits on the knowledge they have and assumes it will always be relevant and useful forever. You need to always adapt and keep looking, keep learning, and keep, finding new ways. It's an evolution. It never stops. And yeah, so this is again why I pick up a lot of books. And I would say, though, I probably, like a lot of us, consume a lot of digital content, but I try to make it as educational as possible in a lot of cases. I don't always succeed. I try not to mindlessly scroll through, YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. I maybe have done in the past a lot more, but I have playlists saved on YouTube, for example, with stuff like this, motivational things to reprogram your mind. It's a mindset shift to things like, becoming a producer over a consumer, like producing and creating things over just consuming products and services constantly, which you will have to do, but at least trying to up the production side of what you do and things that you create and value that you provide, and giving back and helping others and thinking beyond yourself. If you help 1 million people, you have access to the whole world up pretty much with the internet. You've got the global market on there. So in that way, it's a wide open thing. See, and way more than it was when he's talking about this here. I think he was involved in, again, one of a health company that, you know, sold supplements and things like that. So it was a lot of sales that he was involved in back then. It was a different game, different world, but I think the fundamentals were still the same of business, so it still holds true, and it's the values and what it takes to become that type of person. And the type of person, I think it's easy to turn around and say, you know, people that are, again, and I'm not wealthy or rich by any means. I work for a company, have a good job, and, you know, I do my best, but I still think I can do a lot more. I still think I have a long way to go to get to what I have set in my mind, that I want to achieve while I'm here on this planet, while I'm here on this earth, and I'm only getting started. And maybe when you get into your 40s, you're only kind of hitting a nice stride. Yeah, you've got a lot of energy to explore when you're in your 20s, and you can make lots of mistakes. And, you know, as you get into your 30s, you're maybe getting closer to figuring something out. And in your 40s, you're usually starting to hit a stride, and not always. Some people start later. Like, you know, we all know the Colonel Sanders story. I think he was close to 60 or maybe in the 60s when he started Kentucky Fried Chicken, and you know, became a huge success after the fact. After then, that point in his life. So, I mean, it's never too late. Wherever you are is where you start. You accept where you are. You assess the situation. You decide if you want to get to somewhere. You have a goal. You have a vision. And you just say, okay, this is where I am, and this is where I want to go. And now I need to make incremental steps to get there. Money is not the thing to focus on. Money is a function of, a consequence of providing value. And the more value you provide to more people, the more money you will have in blunt terms. And that's simple economics. If you can provide that value to as many people as possible, well, then that money will flow back to you. And if you are the type of person that says, well, I don't care about money, I just want to help people, well, you can help a lot of people. If you have a lot of money, you can help a lot of people. If you want to give it all away, which a lot of hugely wealthy billionaires or millionaires will do, towards all through their careers and all through their business lifespans. Warren Buffett, for example, a lot of these guys will just give it all away, or they have plans to give it all away when they're gone. So you can help a lot of people. And this is not for everybody. Some people are happy to do what they're doing, and this is not on their mind, it's not in their agenda, and that's fine. But if you clicked into this live and money is something that you're concerned about or interested in, or you want to understand the philosophy of why do I even care? Well, it's a capitalistic world. Capitalism is, a huge factor in this world in economics. If you want to live in a capitalist society and you want to pay for good products, goods and services, it's you have to transfer value to the business owner by handing over money, and money is a representation of value, and you get that value provided to you in the form of money because of the value provided to you, to the company you work for, the business that you work for. And the cycle continues. It goes on and on and on. And if you want to increase your value, you have to improve what you provide. It's a quite simple and logical thing, but we, again, sometimes focus on the cat. Like I said earlier on, the cat represents money. Sometimes you want to catch the cat, you run after the cat runs away. But if you sit and wait patiently and you get what the cat needs or wants, and you provide that to the cat, which is the food, and you put it down, the money, which is the cat, will come to you because you're providing what the cat wants. You're providing the value that the cat wants, the product or service, which is the cat food. So thinking about becoming a creator is really where to start if you want to increase that bottom line for yourself, whether it's in your career, your business, or just in general. Thinking about adding more value, and it's always good to give back more value. Like, it's in a lot of cases you can You will have to give value for a long time without any compensation coming back in order to build that trust with people, so they can see that you are providing a lot of value. You're doing something bigger than yourself to help more people. And people will then learn to know, like, and trust you through that. And naturally then they'll want to invest in your business, product, service, or you as a person, or promote you within your company, in your role, give you more responsibilities and a promotion alongside that, because of the extra things you do. And what he said is, I'm not sure if I played the piece here, but I was looking at it earlier on. He said, in relation to your job, for example, or other things, but let's say it's your job, always do more than what you get paid for. And that's called going the extra mile. You know, I notice that when people do that you know, in my own life and job and in just day-to-day interactions, you notice when people go the extra mile. You pay attention to that. And you also notice when people don't, when they do the bare minimum. And, you know, the bare minimum will get you by a lot of the times, but it's not a way to live. For me, it's not a way to live. I want to be able to do more. Hopefully people recognize that fact when I do, and it contributes to the team. It makes if you work on a team, it makes everyone's life easier if everyone has that approach. And it's great to work with people like that. And whenever you have the ability then to recognize and to give kudos and thanks and praise, and, you know, show that appreciation for people that work like that, always do. That's the one thing in management is, like, when people do great things, recognize it, call it out, applaud it, because it's important, and they should be recognized for going the extra mile, for doing the extra thing. So his phrase was, you know, always do, or I think it was, he said his father told him this, always do more than what you get paid to do. And people will recognize that. The cream rises to the top in that regard. And doing the minimum might get you by, but it won't get you to the top. Not necessarily that the top is the place to be, but again, if you want to advance or grow or expand or evolve, well, going the extra mile I think in most cases is usually rewarded and recognized and seen as a great thing. So I would say that's a good place to start, is providing more value than what you get paid for. And if you can provide more value to as many people as possible, well, you'll never have to worry about money. So focus on the value. Focus on providing the value more than the money itself. And I think then the money will come. The money will flow. You won't have to think about it. So it's a mindset switch. Jim Rohn has got a lot on this. Again, like I said, we skipped ahead. That's a 4 hour and 22 minute video, but I've listened to it driving in and out of work over the years, and heard it multiple times. It's an easy one to just leave on repeat for me, and I think I'll start putting it on again and going through and taking some more notes on it. But even though it's 30 years old, a lot of the philosophies still hold true, I think, and it's something that I go back to all the time. And yeah, Tony Robbins has taken a lot of strategies and concepts and ideas from Jim Rohn. So he's like the granddaddy of it all to me. And yeah, always great to refer back to. So I think we're just about on the hour mark, about to hit 10 here in a minute. And yeah, I enjoyed showing that to you. I hope you got something from it. I know I mentioned Jim Rohn before and a few quotes that he had, but I couldn't play the video the last time. I wanted you to hear him speak, because, you know, he's got an interesting way. He's got a good way of talking to the crowd. He's funny at times, kind of, I call them dad jokes, but he's good. He works well with the crowd, and he's got had a lot of great experience. He's sadly passed on a number of years back. I think he was in his 80s or something like that. So he's quite old, had a long, successful life. But yeah, Jim Rohn, one to check out, one to look look into, and hopefully you can take something from his teachings and learnings and all of the stuff that he did in life and business and things he gave back to others. So take a look at Jim Rohn. I think for today, I'm going to wrap this up. I know my video, sorry about earlier on, but the video was chopping back and forth. There's always something. Just when you think it's all pinned down, I play a YouTube video and it starts going crazy on me. But yeah, it was good to show you Jim Rohn. So I've added a link to the description of this video. Check him out. Let me know what you think, if you get to watch the whole thing, or if you know, stick it on YouTube on your phone and play it through your Bluetooth in the car as you're driving around, and see if you get some ideas. Let me know if any particular concepts stood out to you, what ones you might implement, or any other thoughts you might have on this whole topic. You know, were you somebody that focused on chasing the money, chasing the cat, rather than providing the value in, like the cat food, so the cat comes to you, the money comes to you? And why is it that you want to, you know, amass more money? Is it, you know, to just look after yourself, your family and things, or have you already achieved all of those and now you want to contribute and give back past yourself to, you know, the community, society, charity, or other creative pursuits and businesses, and things that will fulfill you in life? Like, what are your philosophies and thoughts on the subject? But I definitely think a mindset shift can help with it a lot. And it's not I know there are some greedy people in the world that will do anything to get money for ridiculous reasons and reasons of power. But I think a lot of good can be done, and has been done, by people that have amassed huge fortunes and wealth over the years. There's lots of examples of that you can refer to, so many. And a lot of it goes unnoticed and it's under the radar, and charities are given to anonymously, of course. But if you're somebody that does want to give back in a massive way, and you're able to, you're a person that provides massive value, and as a consequence, massive amounts of good fortune are you know, brought back to you, I'm sure it's on your mind and your plan and your path to be able to give back and contribute in that way in the future. So let me know your thoughts, and if there are any other strategies or information that you can share to the audience and people in the comments, please do so. Like I always say, there may be just one more number to the lock combination that you need to unlock the next big thing in your life. So, you know, try and do that if you can. Share the information, and hopefully you can help somebody else. So I think we're 3 minutes over time, 3 minutes over 10 o'clock. In the next few weeks, we're hoping to have another guest on. Again, talking about business, life success, and balancing all of that in family life. I hope to be able to share a date on that soon enough. And I know somebody popped in a question, is money important? Well, money itself, just now, money is not in itself important, right? Money in and of itself, it doesn't mean anything, but it's just a representation of value provided. But what you can do with the money, again, what's important to you? Is your family important to you? So if you say, is money important? Well, is your family important? Are your friends important? Is your business important? Are the things you want to do in life important? Oh, if so, well then money can play a beneficial part in that, in helping your family, your friends, your community, your business, your creative pursuits, in providing goods, products, or services to people. And money is just an unremovable part of that. It plays a part. And so, yeah, is money important? No, it's not the most important thing in the world, but when you don't have it, it's tantamount to oxygen. You know, it becomes difficult to do many things. So it can provide certain freedoms to yourself, makes life slightly easier. It doesn't solve every problem, but it does allow you to do great things if you so wish, and give back and help a lot, and leverage the amount of help and good you can provide to people. So yeah, it depends on what your priorities are in life. Money is neither good nor bad, important or not important. It just is a representation of value, and what you do with that value and what you do with those resources is up to you. If those things are important, well, then money can help facilitate that. And so it all begins with you deciding what value you want to provide. And then with the money that you acquire from that, you can do some great things. And that's what I would say. But let me know what you think. Add some comments to the video and we'll check it out. I hope everybody enjoyed this live Saturday night. St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. I hope everybody has a great St. Patrick's Day, enjoys the festivities. Hopefully your head isn't too sore then on Monday morning, or it's a bank holiday here in Ireland. But yeah, have a great St. Patrick's Day, everybody, all around the world. And we'll see you next week. Have a good one. Take care. Good night.